Hello and welcome to episode 3 of the Livewire podcast. It was originally called the Livewire podcast because we weren't going to just talk about dogs, but up to now all we're doing is talking about dogs. And I'm fearing that we're going to get 25 episodes in and still be talking about dogs.
And you're all going to love it.
but we have actually got someone scheduled who's supposed to be here today, but they can't make it, so they're going to be here next week or next episode. A guy called Rory who owns a cybersecurity company, and we're going to be talking about fasting, cybersecurity, and cryptocurrency because he's a bit of a shark in the crypto world. But today I'm joined by Sam and Kerry. Kim can't be here because she is 7 odd months pregnant and she's starting to struggle a little bit, so she's potentially going to be sitting out until after she's had the baby, and then maybe we'll bring the baby on. She says that's quite cool.
Get a little baby mic.
But today we're going to try and talk about dogs again, but about my experience doing NePoPo over in Missouri and that whole trip, because it was quite a story, that trip. And then we're probably going to start it off right now with a new addition that has come into the Paws and Nature world, team, family. Nice 3 words, and world, team, family. And that is a sprocker called Olive, who is, in case you don't know what a sprocker is, it is a Springer crossed with a working cocker. So you can imagine how both of these breeds are super high drive.
Oh yeah.
And Kerry and Sam, like they recklessly do a lot of things in life, thought it was a good idea. Thought it was a good idea to go and get a crazy breed that I actually did support and back and say that it'd be good to train up. So
where did I get the idea to get a sprocker from?
Probably me.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you can say that it's a 3-way reckless act.
Well, the alternative was
a bad genetics.
What was the one that we looked at? What was it crossed with?
Dachshund
cross Scottish Terrier.
Yeah.
Are you glad we didn't get that now?
I'm indifferent.
I'm impartial.
They're cute. Well, what's interesting about this podcast and what I love about it is we haven't seen each other for a few weeks because you've been away on a super wedding on this amazing trip to Portugal, and I've been to Hereford, St Ives, and the Cotswolds on like a big big road trip. And we haven't seen each other, and you've come straight back and got a puppy because you're just crazy.
Literally on the way back from the airport.
Yeah, we picked it up on the way.
See what I mean by reckless?
It wasn't reckless. Actually, worked out really well because we were landing in Manchester.
Okay.
It was in Ellesmere Port, and then picked up Oscar.
Ellesmere Port's not far from the Wirral.
Yeah, but that's not far from Manchester Airport. So, whoop, and then Oscar was there, and then we were home.
Okay, all right, okay.
So,
perfectly planned.
Yeah.
So where was the puppy? Manchester?
No, Ellesmere Port.
Right, and then Oscar was where?
Oscar was near Manchester, wasn't he?
No,
right.
It was the other way around.
Oh.
Well, they were both near-ish to each other.
Yeah, she was like 30 minutes away from the airport. And then...
So the puppy was in Manchester?
No.
Ellesmere Port.
Right. And then where was Oscar?
Like another bit of...
He's like in a farm,
some
Oakfield
place
farm.
in Chester.
Oh, in Chester. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right, so they were by each other.
Yeah, we had to pick up her first and then Oscar.
Okay.
Yeah, and he saw her immediately, just ignored her and was like, I'm so happy to see my parents.
Right, okay.
Yeah, he scratched our car.
Yeah.
Who did?
Oscar.
Okay.
He jumped on the car.
Oh, did he?
He was very excited.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He couldn't wait to get in.
Right, okay. How's he been since?
He's been brilliant. Like,
Has he?
he's actually just been really loving and just sweet and...
Yeah, it's like she's brought like an air of calm to the house.
Yeah, like I still think it's like he just feels like he's not focused on, so like he can relax more.
Right.
Like he's spending way more time around us and letting him, like, he's being super affectionate. Like when she's not there. So
Yeah.
she's doing it like when she's not in the room.
Yeah.
So it's not like a resource garden thing or a protective
No.
thing.
It's yeah.
He just seems way more relaxed.
Okay.
Which is
Cool.
really nice. Like I know he has to decompress from the kennel first, but like we're not seeing any signs of like anything returning or getting worse. He's also fully off medication now.
Oh, okay.
So he's going through a lot.
Yeah, so we weaned him off for, what was it, 2 weeks while he was at the kennels.
No, we weaned him off for 2 months and then we finally stopped
Yeah, just
it.
completely cut it out. He was
for
on
the
a
kennel.
half dose.
Right.
Yeah.
Amazing. So
He's
good.
doing really well.
This is a weird podcast in the series, of however many we do, hundreds maybe, but it's a weird podcast in the sense that like it's a catch up,
Yeah.
isn't it? So it does actually make for a good podcast.
But yeah, it's just so pleasant. Like he just rolls at his back more and like just rolls into
He's
you.
more doofy.
Yeah, he's way more.
Yeah,
doofy.
rolling on his back. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. They haven't been out together. Well, let's go. Okay, so Oscar's good. Let's jump onto the puppy. So you guys wanted the puppy, which I think wasn't the worst decision with Oscar. I say reckless, but I don't actually mean that. But it's getting a puppy's.
Could have gone one way or the other.
Yeah, that's what I mean when I say reckless. I mean it's a bit of a. What's the best way to put it? Sketchy, maybe. It's a bit of a sketchy decision to make where, everyone wants a puppy,
But when am I wrong?
No, you're always right. So, well, it's going good up to now, isn't it? But getting a puppy, obviously, when you said that you wanted to get a puppy, I was a bit like, oh, okay, make sure that this dog's right first. And that normally is the way that you would do it. You would make sure that, the dog in your house is to a good level. But at the top and bottom of it is he was getting to a good level. You're having little mishaps, but let's count the time that he was bad compared to the time that he was good.
Yeah.
It was very, very small. It was just the time that he was bad and he was having these bad incidents. They're impactful to your life because he's biting somebody, he's biting a human. So that makes things, obviously you're like, oh my God, he's bit me. But he was spending so much time in a good place and improving all the time. So I don't think it was a bad decision to get one. And then when you did want to get one, you looked at the Scotty Cross Dachshund, as mentioned before. We all went to see them. We were originally going to go out and get a puppy that did have bad genetics. But when we went there, I was just a bit like, oh, how much hard work is this going to be for you guys? And I didn't want it to be crazy.
Yeah.
And I think we did a bit of a road trip, didn't we? And on the journey back, we were kind of all a bit like, well, I was saying, why didn't you just get something that we can actually train to do something, purposeful? And that's when I said, okay, scent detection, I think, is a cool thing to do.
I just clung on to that.
Yes. No. So the best. I'd had a chat with somebody a while back because I was wanting to go into scent detection and done a little bit of training in it. And there's a guy I know who's like he's the head police trainer for scent detection dogs. I forget his name now. But I was put onto him by where I had my training centre previously. And the guy there knew him and he used to go in there and have coffee, and he said like this guy's like one of the top police scent detection guys, and he come in and had a conversation with me and he's like, listen, if you want to go into it, he said, you're best getting a puppy and practice some of that. And his advice was get something that's like 6 to 9 months because it's a good age, because as long as you get a fairly decent puppy, it might have had a lot of its environmentals done first, and then this would be a good age to start training it in scent detection. Maybe it's because you need to be a little bit more stable or something. I don't know. Can't remember what the reasoning behind it was.
Maybe the focus.
Yeah, a bit more stable. So it was a sprocker that he advised, and he actually put me onto a sprocker, and I had a conversation with the rescue, but it had resource guarding issues, and this is one of the known issues with spaniels. Sprockers, I've seen it in a lot, is that they can be resource guarders, so it's something that you have to manage very early on.
Yeah.
And this one was already a resource guarder, and he's like, right, okay, this is the dog, this is a rescue. And me being who I am, I'm like, okay, I can get the resource guarding gone in this dog quite quickly. And then I'll work with it, and then it ended up falling through for some reason. I can't even remember, but something happened where we just didn't go for it, and then it was shelved then until you said that you wanted a puppy, and then that's where we were like, let's look at getting a puppy that we could actually do this job with. So tell me how it's gone so far.
It's gone surprisingly
It's
well. Yeah, we say it's easy.
Good.
Knock on wood. She pretty much I taught her, like, she was weeing inside at her old place.
Right.
Within a day, sorted that out.
Okay.
And she's not had an accident. Yeah, she's been brilliant.
Fully potty trained. She's already got recall. She's already got like all of the things.
She can self-soothe as well. I'm doing lots of self-soothing with her. The only thing that we had this morning was she saw a kid for the first time, and the kid was like waddling over to her, not like gonna stroke it, but like, you know, just in the vicinity. And the dad was like, "Oh, look at the dog," and then she growled, and I just like let it happen, and then we moved away.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, obviously the go-to is to create space, but it sounded like the space was being created for you, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay.
So then she like looked back loads at the kid, but we were walking away. So
Yeah.
Yeah. So what was happening there?
no socialization.
Unfamiliarity, yes. It's maybe that a child and it's something that she hasn't had a lot of experience with. Do you know if she?
No, she's had lots of experience with children, just not toddlers. Like,
okay.
This is like a 2-year-old.
Yeah.
So she's been handled very much so by the.
It's like 6-year-old,
Yeah.
7-year-old kid.
Yeah,
Right.
he was like, we came and he was carrying her.
Right.
So
Okay.
he was like crying because we were taking her away.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so
It was
cute.
really sad.
Okay.
I feel awful now.
So I know you took some of these puppy away. It's just
It's not his
disgraceful.
puppy.
Just stole little
My
kids'
puppy.
puppies.
It's like stealing candy from a baby.
Right. Okay, so it'll be unfamiliarity that, and then the better thing to do really, if you can, is if you get that opportunity again, you want to try and let us see the 2-year-old, right, for a second or two, and then maybe just scatter feed next to where she is, so she's standing in this position here, and then the like 2-year-old comes toddling over or toddling past. You want us to see, and then just drop food straight away. Teach her like a search command or something where you go,
She knows find it now.
okay, and does find it mean that you spray food on the floor maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, just do find it. I used search because it was in a course I'd done with Talamuto ages ago, and he'd use search, so I've always just used that.
I use search on Oscar and find it on Olive because I don't know
Right.
how
Yeah,
much I
we've had to establish
contaminate
like,
anything.
different languages with them.
Yeah, instead of like, because Oscar's RR is very strong, I don't want to keep using it and him hearing it, and like if he doesn't see that it's towards him, then
Yeah.
like he might get confused. So I used oi
Yeah.
for now.
Yeah, I mean, if you use enough times with a dog and it becomes a reflex response where they go, okay, I've got to stop what I'm doing.
Yeah.
It can trigger them. I've had it with mine where I've got one broad spectrum punishment marker, like a shush or something like that. And if I used to do it on a pack walk, and it used to make everybody howl. Going on like a pack walk, and there'd be maybe 20, 30 dogs on a pack walk. And one dog would have like some type of a mishap at the front, and it would be full of dogs I'd worked with previously. And I'd shush one, and all of them would back up. And then I'd just look around, and all the dogs would be behind me, like walking behind, going, okay, what have I done wrong? So, yeah, it's hard that.
Yeah.
I think it's hard because if you're working with multiple dogs as well, how many punishment markers do you have? Especially when you're working on a pack.
That's why I thought I would like separate the two, just to make it. I just didn't want I don't want to mess anything up. I'm just being really careful.
Yeah. The old way of doing it was that you would name, so you go Oscar,
That's what I was doing, but like it was still just like it was still freaking him out a little bit.
because it's reflexive.
Yeah.
That's the issue.
Yeah.
Because it becomes reflexive because a dog
And I want him to
is
continue
also
like
triggered.
that,
Yeah.
rather than just be like, "Oh, I keep hearing it now."
Yeah. So
Because that's what we use for his reactivity if he wants to like charge at a dog.
right.
So
Yeah, if you see him locking on, it's like a
yeah, immediately
and
stops.
he stops.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So what? So have you? We're not going to do any. The plan for this puppy is to not do any scent training straight away. Is it? We're going to environmentally strengthen this dog.
She needs to come to the sanctuary.
Yeah. Okay.
Definitely noticing that she can be a bit like skittish around like new places, but she is a puppy.
Yeah. Okay. So, for the information of this podcast, and I suppose one of the titles in this will end up environmentals, puppy environmentals, but you need to, when you're raising a puppy, the most important thing that you can do with them first is to just get them environmentally sound before you even train them. Like, you can teach a reward marker and you can mess around with recall and you can do stuff like that, but it's more about at this young age, 0 to 6 months, like I've mentioned a million times, is a critical learning period. So you want them to learn about the world as much as he can in that 6 months. So going on trains, going and seeing what horses are, going and seeing what chickens are, seeing what people are, seeing what a cafe is, seeing what grass is, seeing what sand is, like being able to walk across different textures.
Yeah.
It's also another thing, is making them be good with different types of touch and being able to make them comfortable with being touched, etc.
Yeah, she was actually did really well with that. So
Yeah,
the vet
yeah.
was like really impressed with how still she was, even though she was like, she knew something was coming behind her with the needle. But how like great she was with touch, because she has been handled a lot by like the breeder and us.
Yeah.
So she was like, oh, they're usually like really wriggly, these
Yeah, the
little
vet.
sprockers.
Yeah.
She was wriggly in the beginning, but then she like, as soon as I like had hold of her very gently, she just like calmed down.
Right. Okay.
So she's really good like that. So vet was really happy.
So she's gonna start coming to the sanctuary, and then we're gonna try and get onto some training courses, aren't we?
Yeah.
I think what we need to try and do now is, even if you don't need, and this is a good thing about if you do scent detection, and people make money off this by having scent detection classes, is you can do it with any dog, because I forget the statistic. We got no laptop, have we?
Oh yeah.
No, but the statistic is something like they've got 250,000 scent receptors in their nose. We recently, were we talking to, me and Kim? We were talking to somebody recently, and we were like, don't quote us on this because our statistic. Oh, we had to go into the Williams School and do a talk on what our jobs are. So we did that on, was it Wednesday? And we went and done like what is your job as a parent? And we had to sit in front of a load of 5-year-olds and 3-year-olds, because Bodie's, it's so funny, Bodie's class come in and William's class. So Bodie and his whole class are sitting at the front row, and William and his whole class are sitting at the back row. And we're having to go through, me and Kim, like what we do for a job and dogs, and not to go over and try and stroke dogs. Meanwhile, there was a certain kid in the class who was uncontrollable, and they had to drag him out the class because he's just trying to grab hold of the dogs. He's 5-year-old as well, so that was quite interesting. But to what we're saying there is, because dogs have got such powerful noses, you can just do it with anything, any dog, as long as they want a reward, like, you know, a ball or food or something. You can teach them to sense something, find something, and get rewarded for it. Indicate is the terminology that they use. So we can even do courses and practice with Bruce, with Oscar. We can do.
Oh my god, Oscar needs it. He can't like smell
Yeah,
himself.
his nose is...
It's awful.
Right. But you'd be surprised how good it is. He's just not. There's no clarity in it or something. Maybe.
Yeah, it's like you can have a treat right next to him, and he's still...
Yeah, he's like, where the hell is
He
it?
can't use his nose to find it. He has to see it with his eyes, otherwise
Yeah.
it's...
Okay.
Yeah.
But he's now sniffing more. Now that he's going out of Olive, he's sniffing wherever
Yeah, she's
Olive
yeah.
sniffs.
Anything that she's sniffing, he goes over to sniff too. He's like, "Ooh, what's that?"
This is so healthy for him.
Yeah.
That's so good.
But she is a proper sniffer, isn't she?
Yeah, she
Like,
can't. She literally will not like take. She was the only one that was doing it as well. She just will not lift her nose from the
I
ground.
remember you saying this, and
It was really impressive. Like, she has so much focus. Like, she has, considering like we've worked with, you know, the other puppies at the sanctuary.
Yeah.
They just don't have nearly as much focus as she does. And she can just carry on. She's like a mini Malinois.
And the food drive as well.
The
and the
food
food
drive
drive.
was insane too, which is great.
Yeah.
Like, just happy to eat, and obviously no treats will ever be given to this dog.
Yeah. I've seen this very commonly in working Cocker Spaniels. Is their food drive is crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Like
great.
crazy food
Like,
drive.
oh, like, you know, that whippet, that little baby puppy whippet. Like, she'll like take one food and she'll eat it so gently. Olive will take 4 out your hand and just demolish
Swallow
it. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
Like,
We've got the fundamentals there.
yeah.
And what's the goal? I mean, that's why I said we'd be easy to do some train the scent detection with some more difficult dogs, like Oscar, like Bruce, and Lottie. Lottie be
Yeah.
that good at it. Train them when we're doing the courses, because we don't really want them to do the job and be a serious
Yeah, we want
scent
them-
detection. We want Olive to be. So maybe do our environmentals while we're doing them in scent detection. Mess them up a little bit and get things wrong. Not mess them up, but get things wrong and fail a little bit. So we go, we should have done that different. We should have done that different. And then when it gets to Olive, at 6 months plus, then we can just absolutely, like, you know, be a better trainer for her and do a better version for her.
I still believe that she'd benefit a lot from like the scent stuff early on because she's so engaged.
Yeah.
So we already play like the games in the house where it's like in the rug, for instance.
Yeah, and I
hide
I
the food
pull
and she
her
finds
away
it.
and I I bring her to the carpet and I say find it, and then she like finds every piece, and once she finds every piece, then I will like go, well done, Olive.
Okay, yeah.
Because she'll look at me and she's like, I'm like nope, and she's like okay, and she goes and looks for it, and then it comes back. So she really
Okay.
that's been fun.
That's really cool. It's stuff that we need to jump onto.
Yeah,
100%.
I took a video. I'll send it to you.
Okay, cool. So yeah, we'll bring her up to the stables probably starting Monday or something. Which is only in 2 days. Can't believe I'm back to full-time work on Monday.
I know.
I've just enjoyed this time off so much. Like, I felt like my real holiday was when I got back. Yeah,
So I feel like so did we. Like
Oh, I
you
was.
were working,
yeah.
but like I did. I felt like because being at the wedding was just a lot. I mean, it was great. It was an amazing wedding, but it was a lot. A lot of
Boozy.
boozing.
Right, yeah. Meanwhile, I was sober on my whole holiday.
Yeah, I think I would prefer that. Not waking up.
Weeks this weekend of not drinking. Yeah. Like a new man. Okay,
Can't wait to get on that grind.
so we're gonna jump on with Missouri.
Yeah,
Happy to move on.
yeah.
Okay.
It's a very interesting story, which I really like. Which you haven't gone into full detail in before.
No,
So it'll be
it's where
new.
do we start? Where do we actually start?
Why were you in Missouri?
Oh no, you know what? I want to start with why did you want to do NePoPo?
That's the same question for me. Yeah. So
Okay.
yeah, it is. Yeah. Why am I in Missouri? Why do I want to do NePoPo?
Where did you
So
hear about
What is NePoPo?
what is NePoPo? So it stands for negative, positive, positive. But I'm gonna come back to that. What NePoPo is. I had been running a company for several years, and COVID was about to COVID hit, and I just decided through one thing or another, which is a whole different deep dive, that I wanted to try and improve the skill set of myself specifically so we could benefit Paws and nature. And I kind of had the question at one point where I said to myself,
footsies.
I thought, like, do I want to retire from this career knowing that, like, I was just average, or do I want to retire from this career knowing that I'd become the best version that I could? That was the thought. And as we mentioned previously in the last one, there'd been a little bit of criticism about some of the things that I'd done that were potentially, knowing the science of it better now, I don't think was massively wrong, but there may have been a couple of things I've done where I just got certain things wrong with dogs. But, you know, that's just every job. You know, no golf player goes and does a PGA Tour and just goes, 2 under par on every single hole. People make mistakes. People have bad tournaments and, whatever. And I think that had been the case of me, where there'd just been certain dogs that, like, I could have done things different. And Kim will often come back to me and say now, she'll say, would you have done anything different with that dog now? And a lot of the time I'm like, not a lot. No, I'd have probably still done the same. And then others will go, yeah, I'd have done completely different with that dog. And I'd even, if it ever come to it, if that dog was still about, I'd even bring him in and do like some free work with them, just so I could like maybe see how I could do things different. And I actually have done that, weirdly. There's been certain clients that have come to me and they've even resisted it, and I've changed a certain way that I do certain things, and this is going to benefit your dog more. And they've gone, why are you changing it? Because it worked before. And they've fought me a little bit. I've even had people not come back to me. They literally were like, nah, I'm actually not on board with the stuff that you do now. The more reward-based stuff, I want you to do the older way. Weirdly. But I don't know, that's going to digress. I'm going to go off on down a motorway of tangents there. So I decided that I wanted to improve my skill set. So I started off by looking into the Leerburg University, which is run by a guy called Ed Frawley. And my method previously was a bit more aversive. I was a bit more, I wouldn't even say yank and crank, but it was a little bit more...
Caesar Milan.
Yeah, a little bit more Caesar Milan, a little bit more quick to correct. Right. So I reached out to Ed Frawley, who is the owner of the Leerberg University, and had some personal conversations with him. Ended up jumping onto his university and completing some courses, quite a lot of courses actually. I did loads. I think in total I probably did, not on just there, on multiple ones that I'm going to mention, probably about 40, 50 courses. I did a lot. I just, the ADHD in me just went, okay, full on turbo power, let's hammer it. Let's spend every day like training and doing like researching and getting myself better and more skilled. Upskilling, they call it, don't they? So I went into the Leerberg University, done loads of courses. I done one with Tyler Muto, who was a brilliant course. Actually got my certificates for that one. They send them out in the post yet. And I did some with Michael Allison. I did some with Ed Frawley. And I did some with also, I forget her name now, but she was one of the female trainers on there. Did like a little mini course of hers. No, it wasn't Lauren Turner. No, I'll come on to her. So I did loads of courses with Leerberg, upskilled massively, learned like a new operant way of training dogs, and learned this new obedience sort of skill that I didn't have previously. I wasn't really doing much obedience. I was doing more pack and environmental and leadership and lead control. And a lot of the training I was doing was very much negative reinforcement based. Dogs were coming in because I was using pressure release to get them at my side, stuff like that. I wasn't using a lot of food and reward based training. So after Leerberg, I was very much. I went also onto a guy called Duke Ferguson, who had his own course. He is another trainer who was out there. And then I started to sort of speak to some of the well-respected people in the industry and go, right, who's the person I go to for obedience training? Who is the person that I go to learn a bit about the bite world? Because, said in the last podcast, it's a very skilled world. And if you get somebody who's one of the top people in there, they're very skilled at training dogs. End of. So I started to explore, and then I got the names thrown at me like Michael Ellis, Bart Bellin, Tyler Muto for being a behaviourist. So I did some courses of Duke Ferguson, and then I also got a name thrown at me, a guy called Brent Dry, who was going to be on the podcast at some point on this screen up here. And he's an Australian guy. And when I reached out to all these people, and Brent spoke to me like I was his friend, where the others would just be like, oh yeah, I've got a course, there's a link. Yeah, I've got a course, there's a link. Ed Frawley spoke to me a little bit like a friend as well. And there's a guy called Jay Jackson in the States who is known for his play-based work that he does. He trained a little bit under Ivan Balabanov, and he also like was quite accommodating to me like reaching out to them and talking to them. But Brent was really good and really friendly towards me, and so was his wife. So I employed him to be my personal mentor and just do some one-to-ones with him, where I'd spend a couple of hours on a Skype call and I'd be like, right, I've got this case in. What would you do with this dog? What do we do here? Like, how do I effectively do like counter conditioning in this way? How do I help it with this dog? And Brent massively helped me. Really clever guy in the industry, very, very good dog trainer, and also becoming a very good jiu-jitsu specialist. He's winning all sorts of trophies at the minute. That's all I see on his Facebook. He's getting really good at that as well. So he was one of the people that like started to mentor me to become this more skilled trainer. So it was more rounded rather than just being negative reinforcement and a bit more aversion based. I was now bringing in more positive reinforcement and exploring all the quadrants of learning, the 4 quadrants of positive reinforcement, negative reinforcement, positive punishment, and negative punishment. I was going through the 4 of them and making sure that I was using all quadrants. Then I ended up with a trainer called Lauren Turner, and I can't remember. I was trying to think of this today because I knew this would be the conversation. How did I actually find Lauren? I can't remember. I think she was just very big on Facebook, and somebody had recommended and said she was good. And then she done some training with me and did some online stuff. And she mentioned NePoPo. which was Bart Bellin, who was one of the names thrown at me early on, that like he's one of the top guys to go to. He's one of the best dog trainers in the world. He's one of the absolute geniuses. And I call him the Clint Eastwood of our industry because, you know, Clint Eastwood was a great actor and become a director. And he was this big, you know, name. Everyone knows who Clint Eastwood is in the acting world. And Bart's almost, although it's a Belgian accent, he's got a bit of a deep, and he's got a bit of a energy to him that's like Clint Eastwood, you know, but mysterious. And he's got a very lovely, warming personality. I'll come into why I know him more, obviously. So I also then reached out to Tyler Muto, and this was one of the biggest changes in my career. I'd done training courses online with him, and I'd subscribed to his website and had done of his training courses on his training app. But I felt that I wanted to go further with that, and then paid him a very, very good sum of money to personally train me and coach me in very deep dive in subjects like counter conditioning, like working with aversive techniques, like working with obedience, and how you would get like dogs that were difficult to be able to get past, like really hard behaviors like resource guarding, like separation anxiety and stuff like that. So he was a big part. Brent was, and so was Tyler Muto, a very, very big part of me being the skilled person I am now. And Lauren Turner was also in the background helping me and saying to me, why don't you go over to Missouri and do NePoPo? Why don't you go and, you know, why don't you go over and do it with Bart? You know, just the experience would be good. And everybody you spoke to online was like, you know, Bart Bellin, NePoPo, he's, you know, a great mind, genius. He teaches, you know, this NePoPo, which stands for negative, positive, positive. And it's a system, a way of training dogs that creates a dog that will do things on cue with heart and soul. I mentioned this before, and that's part of the stuff you have to do to pass your NePoPo qualification, is you have to memorize and understand exactly what's going on. And it's just a system, basically. But it's a system that is, it's not a system where you have to be in that system and you have to be stuck in one little system. It's a very broad system. Like I'm not a gold multiplier, but I could be a gold multiplier. I've got the option of it. If I become a gold multiplier, I can now qualify other people to become gold graduates. So they do their silver, and then I can qualify people to be gold graduates. But I was like, I don't know the system that well. I don't train sport dogs. You know, it seems to be very much sport dog based when I'm over there. But they're like, well, no. If you apply the NePoPo system to pet dogs, someone could come through from England and they could come and get taught by you in the pet dog system. We're doing NePoPo all the time. We're training dogs. Yeah. It's all NePoPo. A lot of it is NePoPo based. So it is a system, but it's also very, very broad spectrum that it can be applied everywhere. And you'll probably find that every decent trainer in the world is in some way or another using pressure release reward, and using their system of building drive in the dog, making sure you've got loads of food drive, using existential food when you're training the dog, using toys to train the dog, getting the dog environmentally strong, building strength and power, and using box feeding to get the dog so it's strong and resilient and all that stuff. So it's just, everybody's doing it in some way or another. Even a lot of the force-free dog trainers are doing some version of it. It's maybe not using negative reinforcement as much, but they are. You just don't know they're doing it in that way. So that was kind of like where my head was. And I was like, okay, I wouldn't mind going over and doing NePoPo at some point. So I priced it up, and it was a lot of money, right? It was, you're talking to do gold and silver with your flights and your accommodation, your time off work, and bills at home or whatever. It was a lot of money. It was tens of thousands to do it, right? So I had some money away, and I wasn't going to spend it on NePoPo. There was no way my pennies were getting spent on NePoPo. I had other things in to spend the money on. I had other things in the pipeline I wanted to do and spend the money on. But then they announced that they are going to be doing the very, very last silver and gold, and then they're stopping it. It's going to stop. What happened was it stopped and turned into an online school. So I'm actually glad I did it when I did it, right? But they said, we're doing the last one. So, speaking so much in the water. So So they announce it, and I try to book on. I'm like, oh my God, I've got that money. Should I go and do it? And I'm like, that to Kim. Should I go and do NePoPo? And she's like, 100%. Kim's like, get that skill. You know, be one of them people who've done NePoPo. Like, I think at the time, there was only like 4 people in the whole of the UK, or 3 people in the whole of the UK that had done gold. And there was only 300 gold graduates worldwide. You know, it was so niche to be able to go and be with this Clint Eastwood character. and like be able to learn this and go to America. Like, you know, I've went to America when I was 10 to Disney World, but I love the country. I want to go over and see it and go to the different states. I've always had a hunger to go over to America, so everything was appealing to me. So I tried to get on, and they're like, yeah, you can get on, but you get on the last silver. So I'm like, right, okay, so I'll book on it. Paid my money, booked my flights, economy flight over to America. And this is where the story starts for my Missouri experience. So we booked it for me to go on the 23rd of November. My birthday's the 22nd of November, right? So I'm going on the Monday, which is the 23rd of November. So some random trainer calls me this one day. A lad called Ryan Spinks, lovely lad, and I have a lot to thank him for, and you'll see why. He calls me and he goes, "Hi, I'm going to NePoPo, and I'm from the UK." He's from like down south, like
accent is that?
And hi, I am from the UK. I don't know. He's like southern.
Kids TV show.
I think he's from Marlow. Marlow he's from. It's like down Reading. Because when I went to Stonehenge. I think it's Stonehenge. It's definitely Stonehenge. When I went to Stonehenge, from Reading to Stonehenge, because I was rehabilitating dogs in Reading, he was close by, and I just didn't have the time to go and see him. Like, I'd have had to have spent a day, you know what I mean, go and see him. And it was Marlow. I remember it now. Anyway. He calls me and he's like, "I'm going over to NePoPo." I'm like, "Okay, sound." And me being me, I'm like, "Should we go together?" And he's like, "Yeah, let's do it." He's like, "I've reached out to somebody else, but don't want to. Do you want to go on their own?" I was like, "Okay, sound." So he said, the other lad he reached out to was Alex Steele, who's actually is famous. He's got he's on the Discovery Channel. He's what did he call it? A blacksmith. He's actually like a modern day blacksmith, makes swords and all sorts, and he's got a YouTube channel with 3 million followers on it. And he was one of the Brits on there with me. I'll get to that out. So anyway, calls me up, Ryan, and he's like, "Right, let's do it." And I said, "Okay." So we're back and forth and chatting loads, and he's learning about me and what I'm doing, and talking to him about all the pre-training done with Tyler Muto and all that. And he's like, "Wow, God, you've got, you know, loads of experience." And I've been doing it for, I don't know, 8 years at the time, thousands of dogs. And he was like, "Wow, you know, I've not had this experience you have. It's going to be good to go on with someone who's had a lot of experience of dogs." And he did. He spent a lot of the time like picking my brains and stuff like that. And I was picking his brains because he's got different attributes. You know, you just complement each other. So we say, why don't we just go over early and have like, say, a 6-day trip in America and do something? So we're like, "Oh, it's so funny." We're like what should we do? And I'm like, "Should we go to Alaska?" And he's like, "Yeah, let's do that." And I'm like, "Should we go to New York?" And he's like, yeah, let's do New York. And we're just like throwing all these places around that we're gonna do.
2 ADHD people together.
Yeah. It's probably, yeah. So, has he got ADHD? I think we all have. Anyway, has he got ADHD?
1 in 5.
Right, yeah. So, there's a good chance. So, honest to God, and then we were going to Banff in Canada, which if you ever get up like the most beautiful scenic places in the world, the top 5 Banff will be in there. It's like one of them where you see all the snowy mountains and then a pink lake. This is Banff. So you go there skiing. So we're like, let's go to Banff. I'm glad we didn't, because what we didn't know, that you go there skiing and it's all safe, but if you want to just go there and stay in the holiday resort, which was quite cheap, we were like, how's this so cheap? Because it was all about skiing. See, it's like accommodation's cheap, but the skiing's that expensive. That's where the money is for the trip. But if you just went walking in the mountains, you'd probably get eaten by a bear. Unless we had guns on us, and I don't think we'd have had guns on us. So I'm glad we didn't. Anyway, we finally, I jumped onto Facebook. You can find this on my Facebook feed, but I jumped on. I was like, going to Missouri, does anyone know of anywhere around Missouri that you can go to for a trip? So this friend of mine on Facebook said, I've got a friend who lives in Missouri. There's a place called Branson, Missouri, and it's like a bit of a holiday resort. So I looked it up and I'm like, oh my God, that looks like Vegas crossed to Florida. I'm like, how close is this to our Airbnb? And I'm like, it's 22 minutes away from our Airbnb. So anyway, we decided to go there, me and Ryan. So we're going over to going to do Branson first, stay in a hotel, and then we're going to go to our Airbnb 6 days later and then do a 5-day NePoPo trip. Okay. All booked, all paid for, all sorted. Says to Kim 2 weeks before, it's my birthday just before we go. Do you want to go down to London? Bodie was a 5-month-old baby or whatever. William's like 2. And she's like, I know, but we couldn't take the kids. And Kim's mum's like, I'll have the kids for you. She said, I'll look after the kids for you. I said, we'll literally go for 2 days. We'll literally go on the Friday and then I'm travelling on the Sunday. I'm literally going to be going for a day and a half almost. So she said, I can do a day and a half with the kids, don't worry. Okay. We goes down there on the train. Has the most romantic time ever. When it's just me and Kim, we have this lovely, lovely time. We're holding hands, walking around, going into little restaurants, and just we really, really do become this little hopeless romantic couple when we're just like me and her. And it was lovely. It's a little bit of time away from the kids. It was beautiful. Anyway, we get to the last night. It's 6 o'clock. We go to Winter Wonderland in Hyde Park. Still get emails from them to ask me if I want to go back.
Don't.
Well,
don't.
So we go to Hyde Park, go to Winter Wonderland, have a lovely time, go on a little ride, super romantic. Get to about 11 o'clock at night. I'm flying at 6 in the morning, so I'm kind of like this. I'm like, right, we need to go now. We are about to go, and she says to me, should we go and get crepes or should we go on a waltzers? And I said, just go and get crepes. I just want to go
Crepes?
Yeah, is it crepes? Crepes? Is it crepe?
Crepe.
Well, when
call them pancake.
When you're French like me, it's crepe. Is it crepes? Yeah. Is that it?
Well,
What you said?
I'm going to say with 100% confidence,
Well, like
but it's definitely not crepe.
Americans say crepes. Is it
Like, is it crepes or crepes?
That's not crepe.
It's crap. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So are we gonna get le crepe or are we gonna go on the waltzers? Right? Kim goes, let's do the waltzers, and I'm like, all right, you sure? And she's like, yeah, let's do the waltzers. I love the waltzers. They're my favourite. And I'm like, okay. So
What's that?
the waltzers. You know what the waltzers
That
are?
spinny,
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
Oh, like
it's
a
kind of like
teacup
just
thing.
like the teapot ride.
Yeah.
like
no,
that,
that's
but
the
more
one
adult.
with the arms.
Yeah, it's more adult. It's like the teacups.
Yeah.
But it's more adult. So because it's kind of like it wobbles a little bit, the platform to get on, it's a little bit like that. It's like up and down, up and down. So as Kim's walking onto the platform, she goes up and down one, and she just goes over on her leg. So I was like, you're all right. She'll just jump on it. And she's like, I've hurt my leg. And I'm like, okay, let's just get on the ride. And she's like, no, I proper hurt my leg. And I'm like, slap, get on the ride. So I'm like, let's just, should we go on the ride? She's like, no, I've really hurt myself. And I'm like, okay, sound. So we end up having to get the St. John's ambulance, get her in a wheelchair, wheels are off, and I'm just like, you're all right. And she's like, I've really hurt my ankle, and it's all sore on her ankle. So we have to get it.
Did you not clock that with the ambulance?
So we have to so we get into a taxi to take us to the hospital, and I'm still like, you see, don't want to go back on the waltzers. We can get the taxis to turn around if you want. I was kind of like I think in one mind I was a bit like, oh, please don't, I've done something serious here.
Yeah.
I'm flying at 6 in the morning.
In denial, basically.
A little bit, yeah, and obviously, like, above it all, I don't want her to be hurt, and I don't want to, because she was going to be getting on a train to go back to the Wirral, and I was going to be going on a flight from Heathrow to Missouri, to Atlanta, I think, and then to Missouri. She goes to the hospital. It's a Saturday night in London. So we're basically going to like one of the main hospitals in London. To this day, I couldn't actually tell you which one it was, but it was one of the main hospitals in London. Heaving, absolutely heaving. There's this Cockney girl like at the desk, like complaining about her weight, and she's saying it's me fanny's burning when I'm pissing and all this stuff. Honest to God, it was so funny.
No, you need to say what she actually said.
What did she actually say?
I think Kim knows it.
Oh yeah. I don't know. I can't. Oh, she needs to be here, doesn't she? Anyway, so it's just
Kim knows it.
it's heaving in there. Kim's waiting for an X-ray. She finally gets X-rayed about 4 in the morning. She's broken her ankle, full on broken her ankle. She has to get plastered up. Once she's plastered up, I said to her, "Do you want to go back on the buses?" so no, she gets plastered up. She's out. It's 5 o'clock in the morning. I think I had to leave at 7. We get back to the hotel room. I think we got back to the hotel room for 5. I manages to get an hour's sleep from 5 till 6, and I think he had to be up at 6, and then he had to be at the airport for 7. It was like, I basically did, regardless of what the times were, when I got home, he had an hour's sleep, and then he had to get up and cry him out. Remember the romantic, lovely time that we'd had together? Just felt like we'd just fallen in love even deeper on this trip. Crying my bloody eyes out, really was like sobbing my heart out, like that I had to leave her. Laura, one of our behaviourists who is going to be on this podcast at some point, super close friend to Kim and very close friend to myself, love her to bits. She was in London. She'd actually been out and we'd actually had a bit of a social time with her and Chris. She has to come and get her and like get her into a taxi, get her to the train station to get home. I'm not wanting to go. I'm calling Ryan. Ryan's like, listen, man, if you can't do it, you can't do it. I'm like, it's the last one. Speaking to Laura, and Laura's like, Andy, you can't not do it. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. No one from the world's going over to Missouri and, like, doing this. You're going to be, like, so unique and have such a, it's going to be such an amazing experience to do. Kim's the same. You can't not go. Ryan was super supportive. He's like, listen, you've got to do what's best for you. If you need to be there for your girlfriend, be there for your fiance. Sorry, Kim. I do that all the time. So I end up getting into the taxi, sobbing my heart out, proper like down like this. Gets to the airport. Me trying for the first time in the airport.
Oh my God.
He has a beer at the airport, and I think he did anyway. We had breakfast at the airport. Gets on the plane. I'm on the plane with no sleep. I'd had 1 hour sleep. Gets on the plane. I'm literally there like a sardine in economy. I'll never do this again, ever. I'm in economy like this, trying to sleep, hallucinating, seeing cats walking up and down the aisle. It was so weird. I was just hallucinating and everything next to this lad like this. He was no bother, but I was just like this next to him. And
poor lad.
I finally get I've got my iPad and my phone and my AirPods and all that stuff. I've got all my gear. So finally gets to Atlanta. Me trying, and he's like, I've been behind you all the time. I've seen you fidgeting and all that. So I couldn't find you on the plane. Didn't know where you were. So I'm now like, I'm getting on to like probably 30 odd hours with no sleep. And I was sleeping 30 odd hours. Get to Atlanta. We're doing the exchange. It was a series of disasters. This is the whole story. So goes through security. Ryan's like, we're going to be late for the plane to get to Missouri. And I'm like, okay. So he's rushing me. And he was a bit of a panicker at the time, Ryan. And I know that he kind of does suffer with a little bit of anxiety and stuff like that. I'm sure he won't mind me saying that, but he does overthink things a little bit, Ryan. And so he's like, come on, we need to go. So I'm legging it with him. Gets to the halfway, and I'm like, I haven't got me iPad Pro. I haven't got my earphones, and I haven't got my phone. I'm like, how can I go over to America and not have any contact of home? I don't even know what Kim's number is. If I have not got these 3 tools, and my watch was there as well, my iWatch, I'm like, if I haven't got all these tools, I don't even know what Kim's number is. How do we even ring her? I was like, how do we make contact? So I'm panicking in my head with all this no sleep, and Kim on a train with a broken leg, really traumatized by it all. So I run back, and I'm literally like that in security going, where's my stuff? And then I'm like, and they're like, we don't know where it is. And I'm like, please just help me. I'm like, this is this police officer, please just help me find my stuff. I'm like melting. And then I'm like, oh, hang on, there's another security. And then he ends up getting to the 4th one, and my stuff's there. Oh. Gets back to the terminal, and Ryan's still there. Yeah, we'd missed a flight. So we missed a flight, and
what a good friend.
I know. Well, he was in 2 minds. I found out later where it is. He nearly left me, but he didn't. And this is why he was such a good lad, right? Such a lovely guy he was. He had compassion for my situation the whole time. So anyway, Goes up to the people who are doing the flights, the flight attendant, whatever you call them, the person that gets you through the door. And I did learn later, actually, where somebody said to me, he said, like, once you're in an airport, once you're through security and stuff, it's literally like buses. You can just jump on and go to Atlanta, jump on and go to Chicago, jump on and go to Philadelphia, whatever. It's like you're getting on buses. It's that easy. Flash your passport and you're on flights. It's hard in there, obviously. You can imagine America's tight. But anyway, so we just go up to the girl and we're like, oh, we've missed our flight. Do we have to pay some money? We're so sorry. She said, no, just go on the next flight. It's cool. Just put you on next Air America, whatever else. Just go on the next flight. It's cool. Stop worrying. So Ryan's like, he's like, I couldn't have paid for another flight. So anyway, we go and he has a beer and we sit down and we start talking, right? And he's like, I'm starting to see the person I've been talking to on the phone. He said, because for the whole time in this whole experience, you've been like this, rabbit in the headlights type of thing. I've just been like this person that's left Kim. She's my fiance. I love her to bits. We've got 2 kids at home, all that stuff. I'd left her with a broken leg. It's not an easy thing to do.
In London.
And in London, gets on a flight, flies over, gets to Missouri, gets in our hire car, a VW Passat. I'm like, Ryan, I can't drive. You will have to drive it. He drives me all the way to the hotel in Branson, gets into the hotel, 41 or 42 hours of no sleep, or only an hour's sleep. Absolutely exhausted. Gets a night's sleep. First day in Branson, walks around, and I just said to him, I feel a bit off. So I just feel a little bit off. And he was like, all right. I said, I just feel like I've got a bit of like flu or something. I said, but I'm sure I'm going to be all right. I said, I haven't had much sleep. I'm going to be fine. Just walking around, doing a bit of shopping and all that stuff. Gets back to the hotel room, wakes up in the middle of the night and spikes a bit of a temperature. Next morning, I said to him, just get me a COVID test. We just come out of COVID. They just lifted the restrictions. So it was still all like, stay indoors for 14 days. And, you must be indoors if you wear a mask and all that stuff. So anyway, he brings me a COVID test. Tests positive for COVID. So I'm like, right, we've got a 6-day holiday in Branson. And what am I to do? So the hotel are like, you're going to stay in your room. It's Thanksgiving tomorrow as well, by the way. And you're probably going to be the only person in the whole America on their own on Thanksgiving.
That's very nice of them to say.
They didn't say it just like that, but they kind of, they kind of
you're
Americans.
You're on your own.
Yeah, I know. They were very, very nice. So, yeah, you're on your own. So, Ryan just has a holiday. I'm stuck in a room, and I had it bad. I was sleeping for 20 hours a day. I was literally getting up in the morning and then falling asleep by, like, say, 10 o'clock in the morning and sleeping for a couple of hours. I spent the whole time there on FaceTime with Kim, just literally abusing all the hours that she was awake. And your 6-hour difference, see, it was getting to 11 o'clock at night and I was still only like, say, 5 o'clock in the afternoon. It was like tea time for me. So I was trying to like just speak to her for as long as I could. And then I would just be left, and I was literally in this no man's land from about 5 o'clock till about midnight until I'd finally fall asleep, just like watching programs. And just I was terrified I was gonna die. I was worried I was gonna get to like 7 days, and there was this thing, wasn't there, where you get in 7 days and then you'd start feeling it in your lungs and you'd have all these breathing issues. So I was doing breath work, meditation, everything with the window open. I was just doing my best. I was eating 2 donuts a day. Ryan got me supplies. He got me all these drinks and donuts, because I said, just get me donuts, that's all I can eat. I couldn't eat anything. I didn't. He got me all these ready meals and all sorts, so we could microwave them, and reception said, we'll get your meals cooked and bring them to you. Everyone was great, right? But I couldn't eat. I thought I was going to die, and I was like, and this is what's terrifying for me, because I have had past trauma where I've gone on holiday and had bad experiences. Another podcast, that one. But I was 5,000 miles away from home-ish. And with COVID, just when everybody was still being scaremongered of COVID, Kim's at home with a broken leg. I've got 2 of my boys, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm never going to get to see them boys again. I'm going to die in America. That's how I felt. So I get to like 5 days in, and I'm still feeling like and then the weekend comes, and then in Monday's the course. So I think I'll get about 7 days. And I'm still like I'm still testing positive for COVID. Bob Bellin calls me and he's like, he said in his very deep accent, he said, if you test clear, you test clear. Fuck COVID. You come to school. If you're clear, you come to school. He said, but if you don't, we'll look after you. We'll give you your money back and all that stuff. And I was like, okay, very, very good Bart he was with it all. So I missed 2 days of the course. I've literally got Wednesday, Thursday, Friday to do this course. And you've got to pass. And people fail it, right? But you've got to pass. You've got to pass to get your silver. So I finally test clear and get a clear COVID test. Calls Bart and he said, come to school. I have spent all this time really, really traumatized, like thinking I'm going to die. And I'm still feeling like that. I'm still like, is it going to get me? Am I going to get 10 days in and COVID's just going to go bang and I'm going to start getting all these lung issues and I can't breathe and all that stuff? I'm still shitting myself. Goes to the school in Missouri in the middle of Amish land. It's a very modern training centre, but all amongst all this Amish community, which was magnificent to see. Gets there, does day one of the training course. Never been known to suffer with PTSD or anxiety or depression or anything. It's not something I've ever really suffered with, thankfully. I'm so grateful for that in my life. But I got to the end of the first day. We finished. I stayed back for an hour, tried to brush up on some stuff, and like we broke loads of records that school. There was me, Ryan, Kirsty, and Alex. 4 of us who were all from the UK. So there was 4 UK people. Alex was the guy who does the blacksmith stuff. Kirsty was a new dog trainer from Manchester, and Ryan was from Marlow, and then it was me from the Wirral. Got to the first day, got to the end of it, stayed behind, and that was one of the things they said no one's ever stayed behind to do studying. They just finished the school and go home, but we stayed behind and done studying. We broke loads of records. We were the first to like work out one of the things he did of the e-collars. The first school to ever like get every single e-collar right. And we had Alex Steele in there as well, who like got 100% on his test. He's like super brainy, and he's ended up being an insane good dog trainer. He only went there to do it for his own dog. It's another story, but we had a very clever school. They were good minds on that school. Gets to the first day, stays behind, does a little bit of studying, gets up at 7 o'clock at night, and Ryan's like, do you want to go home? And I'm like, yeah. So we're now in the Airbnb, because what had happened is I was in the hotel, and once the test had cleared, he was like, I'm coming to pick you up. Sits there with a mask on in the back of the car. He's in the front, I'm in the back with my mask on like this in the back, and the Bart's like, come to school but wear a mask, and I'm like, sound okay, which he didn't like because I'm a very smiley, expression-y person, and with the mask on no one could really say I was smiling at them or anything, or they couldn't like when I got to the school, and they all created bonds, and I was like, oh, no one can come near me, oh, and you know, I'm actually quite a touchy-feely person, aren't I? I'm not one of these people that like, you know, I'm like sit in the corner.
You're a social butterfly.
I'm a social person, right? So I'm there with this mask going, oh, I don't even know anybody. And they couldn't even understand the accent, half of them, and the speed to speak off. So and I'm like, you can't even read my lips. It was just, I felt like an outcast getting there. So it gets to the end of the day, goes home. We're driving home, and then I turn around to Ryan and said to him, I feel like my blood sugars have dropped or something. I'm just dead jittery in the car here. And he was like, oh, right. He's like, do you want to get something to eat? I said, yeah, pull over. He goes into McDonald's. I was like, give me
donut.
No, a cheeseburger. Can I have a cheeseburger, please? And they're like, what? And I was like, can I have a cheeseburger, please? Like, what?
A cheeseburger?
She's going, and I was like, can I have a cheeseburger? And they're like, oh, you want a cheeseburger? That's so funny. He never understood me. And then once he got my accent, they were like, oh my God, your accent's so cool. He's just like, they were like, oh, you sound like John Lennon. It's so cool. And they loved the Scouse accent. It was the best. Once they knew your accent, they would call people over and go, listen to him talk. Ryan didn't get a look in, but me, they were like, listen to him talk. It's so cool. Like,
no, they love the Scouse.
Yeah, they do, yeah. So, anyway, bites the burger after I got it. Bites the burger, and I just spat it out. Just like, oh my God, I can't eat. Rings Kim, and she's like, it's like 4 a.m. She's like, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, I'm just, something's happening to me. I'm dead jittery and all that stuff. And I was like, I'm so sorry. This isn't helping me. Talking to you is making me feel worse. I'm jittering even more. So I just hung up on her. And then I think she rang Ryan, and she messaged Ryan. She's like, is he okay? Type of thing. So went about, next morning, goes into school, sees Kirsty, and I told her about it, because I thought to myself, she had this warming energy about her, and I was like, you've been through trauma, you. And I know she'd said she'd lost her dad recently, and I'm like, you've been through trauma. So she said, love, she said, you're getting anxiety attacks. She said, that's what that is. And I was like, what's an anxiety attack? And she was like, that's what it is. She said, you're feeling anxiety. She said, you've probably got PTSD. She said, think of everything that's happened to you to this point. She She said, you probably got PTSD. So from that night and every night going back to the room, I was going to bed at like 7 o'clock at night and hold myself in a fetal position until I went to sleep. I would listen to cars going past the Airbnb and I was thinking they're going to stop and come in and try and shoot us. It was the weirdest thing ever. And I know we've had deep conversations about this and you've said to me, like, that is anxiety. That is like, you're...
Me every night.
People feel this all the time and I'm like, oh my God.
I was like, you've only felt that time when you just talked about the fetal position and then listening to the cars go by and thinking they're going to shoot you. I always think that someone's going to come into my house and kill me.
It just gave me a whole different view on people that suffer with anxiety, etc. It really did. Anyway, I get to the third day of the school. I'd already done all this training that we've spoke about, so I was well prepped to understand NePoPo. You were tested every day. You're like given 100 questions every day. You had to sit there and do 100 questions every day.
You're like coming off the back of COVID, which is like not an easy recovery.
Well. Yeah, I still wasn't well. Like they went into the...
It's like a month of like feeling, it takes a month to like feel better or something.
Yes.
That's a lethargy.
Yeah. So I go to the school, does the 3 days, and they're kind of a bit like, you're probably not going to pass. You know, you may have to come back or whatever, but you're probably not going to pass it. Does the final test. I'd made a couple of bonds with some people, etc. Wasn't enjoying my time there, just couldn't wait to get home. It was just horrible for me. Finally gets to do the final test on the final day, and then they read them all out and they're like, fail, you need to come back, come to the schoolhouse, we need to, because they'll let you retest while you're there, see. You don't have to do all the flights again, they'll let you sit and retest it. So they're like, fail, pass, and then you get to me, 94% you've passed. So I passed it, first go, and I was like, oh my God. Goes outside, calls Kim on FaceTime, crying my heart out. I'm like, I have passed. I can't believe this, I've passed. And it was just like completely emotional wreck. I just couldn't believe it. I was like, I've passed. So we were due to come back on the Sunday. And when we were due to come back on the Sunday, I'd finished the school on the Friday. And I said, and because of how bad it'd been, and I don't think Kim ever really understood, she's at home with a broken leg. She's got a 3-month-old, whatever he was, I think he was 3 months, 3-month-old baby or 5-month-old baby. And she's got William, who's a little tiny toddler. And they're demanding, obviously, both of them. And she's got a broken leg, and Mum had to move in with her. So I go on about my trip and my experience and my trauma, but she had all that going on at home. The only thing that she had going for her was that she was at home getting through that, where I haven't got a broken leg, but I'd had COVID and had all this horrible stuff happening to me. And I am literally like, I'm terrified, basically. I'm terrified by him over there. So I ring her up on the Friday night and she said to her, Kim, I've had a look at flights and they're about $5,000 to get home. I can't come economy. I've got to go home on I have to go home on a business class, or upper class, they call it, don't they? I'm going to pay for upper class, which is their highest band, and it's going to cost me $5,000, and I've got about $5,000 left in the bank, and that's her. And she's like, you can't just do that. You can't just spend all your savings that you've got there on a flight. And I was like, I need to come home tomorrow. I finished the course today. I need to come home tomorrow. I can't stay till Sunday. It's hard now, and I look back and I think to myself, that must have just seemed absurd. Why not just stay in America for another day? Me and Ryan had planned it to go on the Sunday, so we could go and have this lovely Saturday and go for food and drinks and celebrate NePoPo and just be like, yay, we did it. How amazing. What was your feeling? How did you find the school and all that stuff? And Ryan all this time had supported me immeasurably. He had brought me my food. He was like... His emotional support was incredible. He was so compassionate, and I think this is because he's had anxiety issues himself, but such a loving guy. I can't take my hat off to this guy enough for how amazing he was. And I kept saying this to him, and I stand to this day and say that, it's never changed. He was amazing with me. And I just said to him on a Friday night, I said to him, listen, I'm going to have to go home tomorrow. I'm going to have to pay for a flight. I'm going to have to go home tomorrow. So anyway, I calls up a friend of mine who had done a little bit of work of a Rottweiler, and she was a friend from primary school called Joanne Lamb. And I just said to her, I said, listen, I said, I know you work for Virgin. I'm looking at upper class on Virgin. Can you get any discount? She said, I can't get discounts on flights. It's not how it works with us. And I said, okay, fine. I'll just, she said, what's happened? So I explained to her the whole situation of what had happened. And she was like, oh my God. And this girl is also one of the most compassionate, loving people. And everyone who knows Jo loves her, right? She's a great person to know in this world. She's got a big heart on it. And she said, oh my God, love, give me 5 minutes. So she goes off the phone. She's 5 minutes off the phone, calls me back, and she said, you're coming home tomorrow on the Saturday morning. She said, you're going to get your flight tomorrow morning, and you're on my friends and family. It's all paid for. So you don't have to pay for it, basically. So you have to pay like a tax on it, which is about 60 quid going out of the country. But coming back from America, you'd have to pay nothing. So you didn't have to pay nothing. It was like completely free. So I was like massively emotional. It's one of the first times I've ever said that I'm not got emotional, because I still to this day get emotional, and I'll be a little bit teary and my voice breaks and stuff when I say that, and maybe I'm getting past it, but it just sparks a little bit of PTSD, because she saved me. For me, that was the thing. She saved me. Sent her a big bouquet of flowers and said, bring your dog to as many training schools for as long as you want to. I'll do whatever you need me to do with your dog for the rest of the dog's life, who's sadly not here anymore. But I was there to do anything I could for that girl. Do you know what I mean? Because I felt like she saved me. Gets on the flight, upper class, my own little pod. You guys know, because you've done it yourselves. You know, it's just
It's brilliant,
beautiful, isn't it? Silver service, and I wasn't drinking at the time, so I would had like about a year, if not no beer, 1 year no beer, one of them. So I just had to have soft drinks and stuff. But I got all the pajamas and all that stuff. Got home and literally just got into the house and just got on my knees and just collapsed with the boys. Just like let them both come up to me and hug me. And it was so weird, because when I got home I was like, this is just like a weird feeling of like everywhere just like felt like it was a matrix. It was like, what's going on? I felt like I was out of my world. I just like, I'd been in this trauma for all that time doing NePoPo, and then I'd come out of it and I was like back at home, and like everything was normal. And I think, you know, what's even worse about this whole story, Kim had tested positive for COVID outside of me. So then I got home and I'm ringing the NHS and I'm like, right, what do we do? I had COVID 2 weeks ago, so I have to be clear now, right? And you can't really catch it again that quick. But Kim's got COVID. Oh, you've got to stay in for two weeks as well. So he made me stay in for 2 weeks. So I got home and had to stay in the house for 2 weeks. So
that was probably a good thing, actually.
yeah. So I remember when I was away, all I kept saying to everybody that I was Skyping and speaking to, I just want to give you a hug. Just want to give you a hug. That's all I wanted to do the whole time I was away, was just hug people. I just wanted to come home and hug everybody. And as soon as I did, I just hugged everybody that I knew. Just give everybody the biggest squeeze that I knew.
Oh.
But what have we got left? Like, you can edit this little bit out. And me drinking. So then the second part of it is short and sweet, to be fair. So I had to go back over and do gold. So I'm then a NePoPo silver graduate. You're then about all in the system. You know the system.
After?
So I think I did it a year later. They were announcing that they were doing golds, and then they're like, right, these are the last golds. And that was the thing, because the silver was a very, very last silver. That's why it was like, you know, you've got to go over and do it. You're going to miss the opportunity. That's why I had to go. So it's the gold, and I get on something like this. I was actually on the last silver with Bart Bellen's daughter, Ines Bellen, if that's how you say it, or Ines Bellen. She's from Germany. A lovely girl, very, very, very nice girl, and very good at training dogs as well. She'd never really gone down the path of her dad and become like this, you know, other boss, but she just had a natural skill to her from being around her dad, I would imagine. So we booked to go and do the gold. It's a year later, I think, or about 18 months later. I got on like the second to last gold, and then that's it then. There's like one more gold after us. So to Kim, I don't want to do it. I'm not bothered if I don't do gold. I'll stick with silver. It's fine. Don't need to. She's like, you've got to go and do it. You've got to go and do gold. So it gets the money together, pays to do gold, and then speaks to Jo and one of her friends and family. She's like, yeah, you're going up upper class again, business class. She checks the flight and she's like, there's like 8 seats left in upper class. You're definitely going upper class. Don't worry about it. Gets to 11 o'clock. This drama just continues. Gets to 11 o'clock at night before me flying. It's 11 o'clock at night, and she calls me. I'm like, why the hell is she calling me? I'm flying to Gold the next day, and I'm like, I don't care if I don't go to Gold. I'm like, and Kim's like, you've got to go. She pushed me. Thank you, and God bless you, Kim, because she pushed me to do this. So she rings me, she goes, there's been a massive hurricane in Florida, so everybody's now flying to Atlanta. And they're going to drive to Florida, so you don't miss a holiday. I'm like, okay, what's this mean? She goes, well, your flights, you're probably not going to go on a flight. I'm going to put you on for Heathrow. So I goes, okay, sound. She calls me back and goes, Heathrow's the same. Just go to Manchester. She's just I'll put you on and go to Manchester in the morning. She's like proper panicking, bless her. Goes to Manchester in the morning, turns up. Airport's heaving with people, all but their Disney stuff and all that. There's all this big Florida thing going off. And they're like, goes up to the Virgin people. Virgin people. It was the Virgin people. Goes up to the Virgins. It goes up to the Virgins like, hi, Virgins. How long have you been a virgin? Anyway, all my life. So goes up to the Virgins, and I'm like, dude, I'm here to get on a flight. Tell me I can't get on it, it's fine. But I'm here to get on a flight. I don't really want to go over there tonight, but I'm here to get on a flight to go to Missouri. And they're like, oh, you're not getting on a flight. Don't be stupid. She's like, you're not getting on it. I'm like, okay. That's sound. That's cool. So rings Kim up, who dropped me off. I'm like, Kim, you might be coming back for me. She's like, all right, okay, fine. If so be it. Speaks to Bart, and he's like, listen, we'll either refund you or you can get back on the next one. There's another one to go in a month's time. You know, just jump on that one. All right, or a week's time or something. I can't remember. So I'm like, okay, sound. So the woman from Virgin, the Virgin says to me, she's like, yeah, you're not getting on this flight. And I said, okay, sound. And then she goes, tell you what, just go through security, and if there's a space on the flight for you, you can get on flight. So I'm like, okay,
what?
sound. So she's like, yeah, no, she's like, just go through. She said, but if you get through security, she said, and we can't get you on this flight, at least you're there, then you're ready to get on. She said, but if you can't, there's a door you can just go, and you come out and you go back to where you were. So I'm just like meandering around. I'm like, and just like looking at stuff, buying things. I'm like, I don't care if I miss this flight. Then the next thing, this bloody Virgin comes running up to me. She comes running up to me, and she's like, I've been looking for you everywhere. We've got you on the flight. She's like, your business class, which is still great, and it's a big wide seat and all that. Your business class, you're on the flight, you're going over. I'm like, okay. So it goes and gets on the flight, business class, goes over there, quite comfortable, gets chatting to the girl next to me, has like a nice little bit of an experience going over, watching some stuff on my iPad and doing some research and all that stuff. And then I get over there, and then there was a lad called Lewis Collins. We'll have to let him know that he's been mentioned on this, because he also was an instrument in this. Ryan really emotionally supported me on this, but then I get over there and I'm like, I got one of them, ear block things from the flight. And I'm just like, oh my God, there's not another thing. And it didn't go for hours. It didn't, the way it just bursts on the way out the airport. This didn't go for, I was in bed in Missouri. Picks me up. Lewis comes and picks me up, and I'm like, I am not very happy being here, in his passenger seat. And he's sensing it. So he's like, all right, okay. He's like, okay. So he takes me to the Airbnb. There's 5 other trainers who were all there doing Gold. Great experience. They were amazing people. We had people from Germany, I think Holland, from America, and then myself from England. It was just a lovely variation of people. Really nice it was. So get over there, and I'm just like, get up in the morning, my ears sort of coming. I'm like, oh my God, I'm here. And no one had turned up at this point, I don't think. I think that was right, yeah. I don't think anyone turned up. So it's just me and Lewis in the Airbnb. And it was a massive, big mansion in Missouri. You just had these hundreds of acres of land around you with nothing, just open, not even any gates, because it was just open, just in this massive big mansion. It was amazing, it really was. So we get up in the morning, and he's like, what you like doing? And I'm like, don't know. And he's like, do you want to do some cool stuff today? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, you ever shot a gun? And I'm like, no. Do you want to shoot a gun? And I'm like, probably. So he sticks this gun out, and he's like, this Glock, this pure, amazing pissed. I'm like, oh my God, I'm on Call of Duty Zombies. This is the best day ever. So he's like, just come in the garden. He like sets a bottle up. He has like a plastic Coke bottle. And he's like, just fire the round into that. And I'm like this, like, there's videos of me doing it. And I'm like this, shooting and shooting and shooting. And there was 10 bullets in the round. And I hit the bottle with 6 of them. And he said to me, you never shot a gun before? I said, no. He said, have you played Call of Duty? And I said, I used to like be obsessed with Call of Duty. And he said, people who go into the military, he said, who were good at shooting, they've normally played a lot of Call of Duty because it helps you with hand-eye coordination. I was like, that's amazing. It's like, so it did have a purpose in my life, playing a lot of Call of Duty. And from there, and as you know with me, and people that know me well, I love shopping. And he said, do you want to go to Bass Pro? And I was like, what's Bass Pro? And he said, well, it's basically an outdoor shop. You know what I'm like for my outward bound stuff, right? He says, basically an outward bound shop.
Like a
he
kid
said,
in a candy shop.
but it's the biggest outward bound Bass Pro. Bass Pro is one of the biggest shops, one of the biggest outward bound fishing and outward bound places in America, he said. And this is the actual biggest one in the whole of America. So I'm like, okay, we're definitely going there. So he drives me there after shooting the gun, takes me to Bass Pro, goes to Bass Pro, and it's basically this enormous outward bound shop full of everything you can imagine. And at the back of it is a like an aquarium place that's bigger than Blue Planet. And Blue Planet is amazing. It was actually 4.5 miles to walk around this aquarium. 4.5 miles, that's how long it was. The most insane thing ever. And I love fish. I've got fish tanks. There was just like everything you could imagine. There was this massive big tour. So we went from there and then we went to this fast food place, which was like, so that was the most amazing experience. You know that top I wear, it's got freedom and it's an Under Armour. I wear it all the time. It's got the American flag. It's a t-shirt.
Yeah.
I bought that from there. So we finishes.
Where you get called American Sniper. By,
yes. Yeah.
Andy.
By Andy, yeah. So then we went from there to like this gorgeous place to eat. And then we went from there, and I was drinking beer at the time, and then we got a couple of beers and went back. And by this point, my trauma was conquered, and God bless him. I don't know whether he knew what he was doing. I sense he did, but the way he just manufactured that day for me, Lewis Collins, just helped me, and I just relaxed completely. And I went into that was like the Sunday, and I know because I booked the trip where I was like getting there Saturday, staying over, straight into it on the Sunday, Monday, and then straight home on a Friday. I didn't want to stay in the extra days because of the previous experience. And I went into the school on Monday with a smile on my face and like proper happy and proper loving it. And I had a great time doing Gold School. I had great nights every night with all the students and passed the Gold School, obviously, and got my 2 certificates, which was NePoPo Gold graduate. I'm an original, what you call an original gold multiplier, meaning that I was part of the schoolhouse, the original setup of NePoPo. So we are the unique students that can train others. So I was part of that family. But I also got my e-collar qualifications in NePoPo, so I've got that at home. I've got e-collar qualified. I showed correct use of an e-collar while I was over there doing some stuff with dogs. I was using it a lot to teach with box feeding and stuff like that. And then come home and had the most incredible, amazing experience, and would go back tomorrow. I'm actually planning on going back over in the next 18 months to 2 years to actually go back to the schoolhouse and do an internship over there, maybe with Jackie, who runs her own, separate from NePoPo, but her own training school, her own board and train, to like really upskill us again. So we've got premium, skills again for puzzle nature. And that is a very long story. That's the detailed story. That is a very detailed story.
That's an incredible story,
it's a good story.
Of my NePoPo experience. And you guys are like, we didn't have to talk. This was just so
That's
good.
an easy one. Good.
You guys are sleep deprived because you've got a puppy. So, so...
But that means great to listen to. You kept us awake. So so it's a good story.
I know.
I was like, what's happening next? Because I know a bit of the story, but I don't know, like, just the deeper detail.
Well, I remember telling you like a brief of it, and you were like, oh my God.
Yeah, and that's like, it's traumatizing. I would end my life.
You're like, I'm getting PTSD listening to the story, but...
I have PTSD right now.
But I think the thing with that whole story is it was just a catalogue. Even going back the second time from the flight getting missed,
But then it's also like so fortunate as well, like having Ryan there. Like, how lucky is that to have someone so compassionate, like waiting for you for one at the airport, and then just like looking after you the entire time? Because imagine if he wasn't there.
Yeah.
Christ. And like passing with 94%, it was almost just like.
Yeah, I
It's
mean
crazy.
that was they actually when I went up, and because you have to go in and do your own little mini photo shoot and stuff with them. I think Bart said to me as I went up, he was like, how did you, or it might have been Michael, who was his wife. She they were like, how did you do, how have you done this, how have you, like, how have you done that with only 3 days? And I was like, I've studied this industry deeply in the last couple of years. I've gone deep into it, like, you know, I'm talking when I was doing them training courses at home, I was watching them on, I'd have my iMac set up and I'd be watching them, taking notes, and then re-watching the video and going over my notes and almost word for word typing. And I'm a slow typer, but typing everything he was doing, putting them onto my notes onto my phone and reading back through them. And I wasn't just doing a course, I was deep diving every single course I was doing. So I went into that, into NePoPo with like a good head for like the whole of dog training, the whole system of dog training. So I suppose that's how I passed the silver. But there was also other people on there as well. There was a guy called Sven and Kayla Ferguson, who were also part of the House on the Gold School, who were all instruments in me having a good time there. Because Kayla was a really lovely girl who brought a load of Labrador gun dogs with her. And Sven has ended up like one of the he's like one of the PAs, if you like. Is he like a PA? Him and his wife are like, they deal with all like the admin and like advertising and like, you know, liaising with the students for the new NePoPo, this new system now where you go to like a big training centre in Holland, and it's gone worldwide now, which I don't like in ways because we're not as unique, but you know, I suppose it was a natural way for it to develop because it's such an amazing system and such an amazing thing to learn. But there was also other people, Sven and Kayla and Lewis Collins, specifically Lewis, and his favourite film, which was lovely. I can't remember the name of it, Lewis. If you're watching or listening, I'm going to make sure you do listen to this, Lewis, by the way. His favourite all-time film was this film about some guy who's a Scouser, and he like sings all the Beatles songs.
Oh, yeah. No, I think it's called like Yesterday.
Yeah, that might be it, but it was like his favourite. Yeah, I think that's it. And he made me watch it on day one. Like, I got there and he's like, watch this film with me. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, do you expect me to know the people on the screen or something? He's like, watch this with me. Make sure you watch this. And I was like, he already likes Scousers. He had a bit of a soft spot for Scousers, I think, Lewis. And he's also a fabulous trainer. That was another thing in that house. Kayla is an amazing gun dog trainer. Lewis is more sport dog driven and an amazing sport dog trainer. And Sven, oh my God, we got there and we got into the training school and he was very like humble, Sven. And it was a bit like, okay, you know, you couldn't really gauge if he was any good at what he did. And he was like, oh, I work more with horses. And honest to God, like, he had horses moving with an e-collar, like, in a couple of days. He had, like, a big band around the horse with, like, a little e-collar using very low stimulus. And he was literally just on a button getting the horse to move this way, on a button getting the horse to move this way. Unbelievable. Like, he was like a true horse whisperer. We should get him over to the training centre. I've said this. We did plan on it, but nothing's ever come of it. But that's definitely something we should do. Let's talk business right now. We should start, because I've got a series of people we can get over. Brent wants to come over to the UK. Him and his wife want to come over to the UK and have a little bit of a holiday, and they want to come and do a training school, a seminar with Paws in Nature.
Oh, yeah, that would be
They
great.
want to do it. They're ready to go. I've been promising it for ages, but it's something we need to really push and get, because I've got a list of people we can get over who are cool people to get over and do seminars, and we can run them and develop some really nice things for Paws in Nature. You know what I mean? So
it's exciting times ahead.
Yeah. So I think we're just about on time. We've probably just run a bit over. Thank you for listening to that story. I do feel at this point that we've been on. The last two podcasts have been very much heavily me speaking, so it has to change on the next one. I have to be the interviewer instead of the
I'm not
interviewed.
available next month, I'm sorry.
Okay, yes, okay. So
I just don't know what to talk about.
well, there's loads.
Dogs.
Yeah,
I can talk about
dogs.
dogs. I'm talking about my dog.
Yeah, I feel like it's been very personal to me, this podcast. But it was a crazy experience that I'm glad of. I still got a little bit emotional when I was thinking about going home and seeing my kids, but it's the first time I've actually told the story about Joe helping me with that flight and me not getting emotional at that point. So that's progression, I suppose.
That is massive progression.
So, thank you for listening to the story. Thank you to the listeners at home and viewers at home for listening to part 3 of episode 3 of the Livewire podcast. We do promise at some point by 2030 that we will start talking about something other than dogs.
2050.
Yeah, the next one's going to be about a guy with cybersecurity. So, yeah, thank you for listening, and thank you guys for being a part of it.
Pleasure as always.
Yeah, pleasure as always.
And that is a wrap up.